Good morning students. Myself Srimati Vindhya S, lecturer from Government Polytechnic in Marihalli. In today's class, I'll be explaining on the architecture of microcontroller systems 8051, that is a unit 1 of microcontrollers and application subject, that is 15MC34T. So in the last class we have studied the features of microcontroller 8051 and also the detailed functional block diagram also we saw, and also the simplified functional block diagram of 8051. So we saw the different blocks: interrupt block, timer and counters block, then buses block, CPU block. Okay, so many blocks we saw, and also the functions of each block we saw. Then also we studied the clock and oscillator circuit and reset circuit. Okay, the clock and oscillator circuit. What is a clock and oscillator circuit? It is the clock is that is a quartz crystal which is connected to 18th and 19th pin of the microcontroller. So here the clock circuit which is responsible for the oscillator circuit which is responsible for generating the clock pulses. And also we saw in single machine cycle how many states, how many pulses for a single state, and what is a frequency. 12 megahertz is a frequency we will use in a 8051 microcontroller. But if we use a serial communication, then what is the frequency used? 11.0592 megahertz frequency. Okay. So next, in the reset circuit which is connected to the pin 9 of the microcontroller unit. Okay. So here, why reset? Two types of reset. One is power on reset and another one is manual reset. Okay. So in today's class I'll be explaining the internal memory and external memory of 8051. So internal memory 8051, it has both program memory as well as data memory. So program memory is used for permanently storing the program, permanently saving the program, we will use a program memory. Data memory, which is used for temporarily storing and keeping the intermediate results and variables. So permanent storing of data means which type of memory? ROM or RAM? ROM. Read only memory, that is a permanent memory. Random access memory, that is a temporary memory, or we will call it as data memory. So this 8051 has both internal ROM and internal RAM. Internal ROM, program memory; permanent memory, internal RAM; data memory, temporary memory. So if these internal memories is inadequate, then you can add external memory using a suitable circuits. So coming to internal data memory, that is a RAM. So this RAM stores the temporary data and the intermediate results that are generated and used during the normal operations of microcontroller. So it is used to store the temporary data and the intermediate results. And the size is 128 bytes. The size is 128 bytes. So it mainly consists of register banks, read-write data, bit addressable registers and stack. And the address range is from 0000 to FFFFH. Okay. So we will see in detail the internal memory organization, that is internal RAM organization. Actually, all the modern variants of 8051 microcontroller, they have a 256 bytes of RAM. But here, the first 128 bytes, that is from 00 to 7FH. This is the first 128 bytes. That means a lower 128 bytes. This is an upper 128 bytes. Totally 256 bytes. Okay. So here the first 128 bytes, that is from 00 to 7F. It is divided into working registers. These are working registers. They are organized as bank registers or register banks. Next, bit addressable area, and then general purpose RAM. This is general purpose RAM from 30H to 7FH, or it is also called as scratch pad. In the first 128 byte of RAM, that is from 00 to 1FH, okay, the first 128 bytes of RAM, that is the first 32 bits, or that is from memory address 00 to 1FH. It consists of 32 working registers that are organized as 4 banks: Bank 0, Bank 1, Bank 2 and Bank 3. Okay. So each bank consists of 8 registers. So totally how many registers? 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. 8 fours are 32 registers will be there. So these registers are each bank, Bank 0, Bank 1, Bank 2 and Bank 3, each bank can be addressed in 2 ways, either by name or by address. So to address the register by name, first the corresponding bank must be selected. To address the register by name, the corresponding bank, for example, see here, R0 to R7 registers in a Bank 0, R0 to R7 in Bank 1, R0 to R7 in Bank 2 and R0 to R7 in Bank 3. So which register, if I want to access the register from the Bank 1, that is R0 to R7 registers from the Bank 1 by name, then we have to select the bank. We have to select the Bank 1 using a RS0 and RS1 bits of PSW. What is PSW? PSW is a special function register. PSW, program status word. Okay, see here, you can see here PSW, program status word. These are all special function registers. So in order to address the register by the name, first the corresponding bank must be selected. So to select the bank, we have to use PSW. In a PSW, there are 2 bits, RS0 and RS1 bits. If I give 00, Bank 0, 01, 10 and 11. So these 2 bits, they have 4 combinations: 00, 01, 10 and 11. So 00, Bank 0 is selected, 01, Bank 1 is selected, 10, Bank 2 is selected and 11, Bank 3 is selected. So we have to select the bank. We can select the bank by using the RS0 and RS1 bits of program status word. So when addressing the register by address, if I want to address the register by using just an address, see here, 00 to 7H, okay, address, for example 12H. For example, if I want to access the register that is in 12H, corresponding to the bank 2. If I want to access the register in a 12H, this is 10, then 11, 12, 12H, that register will be in a Bank 2. Okay, so 12H corresponds to register 2 in a Bank 2. Okay, R0, 10H, R1, 11H, R2, 12H, R3, 13H, R4, 14H, R5, 15H, then R6, 16H, R7, 17H. Okay, so 2 ways we can access the register. First, if we want to address the register by the name by selecting the corresponding bank, then we can use RS0 and RS1 bits in PSW, program status word. Or if I want to address the register by using direct address, then by selecting the corresponding bank, for example 12H, which corresponds to R2, Bank 2 of register R2. Okay, so next, 16 byte of RAM, another 16 byte of RAM, that is from 20H to 2FH. They are bit addressable memory locations, or the entire byte can be addressed as 20H to 2FH. This is a bit addressable, 16 bit addressable registers. Okay, so then final 80 bytes of internal RAM, that is from the addresses 30H to 7FH. They are for general purpose RAM. This is for a general purpose RAM. So even these are byte addressable. This is a bit addressable. This is a byte addressable. Okay, so lower 128 bytes can be addressed. This lower 128 bytes, that is from 00H to 7FH, can be addressed directly or indirectly. But here upper 128 bytes of RAM, that is from the memory address 80H to FFH, they have to FFH is allocated. Upper 128 bytes of RAM, that is from 80H to FFH, is allocated for special function registers. See, these are special function registers. This I'll explain the special function registers in the next class. So this upper 128 byte of RAM, that is from 80H to FFH, is allocated for special function registers. Okay, so and this is of a direct mode. This is of a direct mode. Here we can access using direct addressing. Okay, So in some microcontroller, there is an additional 128 byte of RAM which share the memory addresses with the SFRs from ATH to FFH. Okay, so this is accessed indirectly here, direct and indirect. This is for additional memory. Additional memory, even this is accessed indirect addressing. Okay, so this is the internal RAM organization. So once again I'll repeat, the 128 byte internal RAM is organized into three areas. One is the 32 bytes from the address 00 to 1FH that make 32 working register organized as 4 bank of 8 bit each, that is bank 0, bank 1, bank 2 and bank 3, and bits RS0 and RS1 in a PSW. It determine which bank of the register is currently in use. Bank 0 is selected upon reset. Okay, next bit addressable, second bit addressable area, that is of 16 bits, so that is from the 20H to 2FH. Okay, then the addressable bit may be specified by the bit address 00 to 7FH, and next finally general purpose RAM area above the bit area, that is from 30H to 7FH, they are addressable as bytes. So this is about the internal RAM. So this is it is divided into lower 128 bytes and upper 128 bytes. Lower 128 bytes, they are used for lower 128 bytes. For what they are used? Lower 128 bytes, they are used for storing. They are divided into working registers, bit addressable area, and the general purpose RAM, or it is also called as scratch pad. And the upper 128 bytes, they are used for special function registers. Okay. So next is internal ROM. So the internal program ROM, it occupies the code address space from 0000 to FFFH. Okay, so it is of 4 kilobytes. Internal ROM, it is of 4 kilobytes, and it is mainly contains some executable functions and some data which may never change. So it is used for permanently storing the program. So it may contain some executable functions and some data which never change, and the address is from 000 to FFFH. So the program addresses higher than 00 if the processor needs the address higher than FFFH, which exceeds the internal ROM capacity. Internal ROM capacity is from 00 to FFFH. If the processor needs more than this, then the internal ROM capacity, it will cause the 8051 to automatically fetch the code bytes from the external memory. If internal memory is not sufficient, then the processor will go for external memory, that is from the address 002 by connecting the external access pin to ground. So 8051 microcontroller, it supports 4 kilobytes of internal RAM. Okay, so CPU first fetches the instructions from the memory. If the memory address exceeds from this memory, first CPU processor first fetches the instruction from within this memory 00 to FFFH. Okay, if the memory addresses exceed this limit, if exceed this FFF limit, then the instructions are fetched from external ROM. Okay, internal RAM and internal ROM. Internal RAM, temporary data; internal ROM, permanent data. Internal ROM 4 kilobytes, then internal RAM, it is of 128 bytes, and that 128 bytes are divided into 3 sections: working registers, then bit addressable, 16-bit addressable and general purpose, and another 128 bytes for special function registers. Here internal ROM, if the processor first fetches the instructions from this internal ROM, that is for the up to the address FFH. If the memory addresses exceed this limit, then it will fetch from the external ROM. So next is external memory. External memory is used in the cases where internal ROM and internal RAM memory available on chip is not sufficient. So two separate are made available by 16-bit. Two separate ROM and RAM are made available by the 16-bit program counter and the data pointer, and by the different control pins for enabling the external ROM and external RAM chips. So if the 128 bytes of internal RAM is insufficient, then the external RAM is accessed by the DPTR, that is a data pointer. Even this is a program counter, data pointer, all these are special function registers which I will be explaining in the next class. Okay. So in 8051 family, external RAM of up to 64 kilobyte can be added to the chip. Okay, external RAM up to 64 kilobyte can be added to the chip. How it is added to the chip? Let us see the diagram. See this diagram. EA bar. EA bar is for external access. Okay, if EA bar pin is connected to 5 volt, that means if EA bar pin is 1, then the CPU it accesses the memory address, or it is going to fetch the instructions from this external ROM if EA bar signal is 1. If EA bar signal is 0, then it will use this internal memory. If the address FFF, if this exceeds, if it is in this range 1010, if it is in this range, for example 1 is 1010, then it will go for external program memory, and this external program memory is limited to 64 kilobytes. Okay, see the address. This is only for internal ROM 002 FFFH. Here for the external program memory, it is from 1000 to FFFH. Okay, this is an external program memory. Okay, so next, this is another way. If EA bar, you can access the external program memory using like this also. Without using the internal program memory, you can connect the external program memory of around 64 kilobytes. You can interface it with the 8051 microcontroller by making EA bar pin is 0. EA bar pin is 0. See here, it is internal memory extension of this is external program memory extended. So here directly connected to my 8051 microcontroller by making EA bar, that is external access pin, as connected to ground. Okay, then CPU can communicate with only external program memory here. Here CPU can communicate with internal as well as external. If the instruction address is within this range 002 FFH, then it will communicate with this internal program memory. If it exceeds FFH, then it will communicate with this external program memory. Okay, so here in this case, the CPU 8051 microcontroller, it is not going to use an internal program memory, only external program memory it is going to use. Where, see, 8051 microcontroller, it has both internal as well as external. On chip also is there, and even external memory we can add. But as in 8031 microcontroller, it has no internal program memory, only external program memory is present. So only it's based on the classification of memory. We had embedded memory and external program memory. So embedded memory means this one, external program memory means this one. Example for embedded program memory in the previous class we studied 8051. For external program memory, that is 8031. Okay, so this is a example for external program memory access. So in today's class, we studied internal program memory, that is ROM and RAM, and external memory, that is external memory, okay, which is of 64 kilobytes. Okay, so let us see some multiple choice questions. External access is used to permit A. Peripherals, power supply, ALU, and memory interfacing. External access is used to permit peripherals, power supply, ALE and memory interfacing. So what is the answer? Answer is external access is used to permit memory interfacing. Next. Is ROM used for storing the data storage? ROM, whether ROM is used for data storage, which is a program memory and which is a data memory. Is ROM used for storing the data? Yes, ROM is used for data storing because it is a permanent memory, true. Next. How are the addresses and the data buses removed in external memory type microcontrollers? How are addresses and data buses removed in external memory type microcontroller through demultiplexing by external latch and ALE signal, through demultiplexing by external latch and DLE signal, through multiplexing by external latch and DLE signal, through multiplexing by external latch and ALE signal. So here through multiplexing by external latch and ALE signal, through multiplexing by external latch and ALE signal. So external memory microcontrollers can overcome the limitations of insufficient inbuilt program and data memory by allowing the connections of external memory using serial port pins as address and the data lines, parallel port pins as address and the data lines, parallel port pins as address and the control lines, serial port pins as address and the control lines. What is the answer? So answer is parallel port pins as address and the data lines. Next, if the dash pin is dash, then we have the option of using the dash ROM or EEPROM together with memory and devices. What? If EA pin is high, internal external, EA pin is low, internal external, EA pin is high, external internal, EA pin is low, external internal. So we saw the block diagram. If external access pin is high, then we can have both internal as well as external. That is internal ROM and or EEPROM we can use along with the external. Option A is the answer. So this is about of today's session. So what we can expect the descriptive type of questions. They may ask for internal memory organization. Internal memory organization, if they ask, then we have to write down both internal RAM and internal ROM. Or how the external memory can be connected to the 8051 microcontroller through EA, that is EA bar pin, that is external access pin. Then those two, the block diagrams what I showed, that you have to write down. Thank you, students.